This video features very dangerous stunts that originated 20,000 years ago. I strongly advise you not to attempt them. If you are in pain, go to the hospital instead. Do not try to replicate this. It is far too dangerous. Hello here. Imagine you lived 20,000 years ago and you do not have internet communication and medicine there, and you risk your life for food, and you do not have to imagine. And now we will explain everything in detail and tell you before starting the video, like and subscribe to my channel. Write comments drove. Imagine that you have a time machine. You sit in it, press a button, and you are transported to 20,000 years ago. There is snow, ice, huge snow-covered plains around. In the distance, mammoths roam, large fluffy elephants with long tusks. People do not live in houses but in caves or in huts that are made of branches and animal skins. They have no phones, no schools, no hospitals with doctors in white coats. But the people there are just like us. They laugh, they make friends, they take care of each other, and of course, sometimes they get sick. What did people do when their stomach hurt? When they fell and broke their knee, or when someone had a fever? After all, there were no pharmacies back then. Let's find out how our distant ancestors coped with diseases and injuries without having any pills or doctors in the usual sense for us. Life in the Ice Age was difficult. People had to walk a lot, hunt large and dangerous animals, build shelters, and get food in the extreme cold. From such a life, people had various troubles. Scratches and wounds, and during the hunt, you could hurt yourself against the horns of an animal or a sharp stone. Bruises and fractures, people fell from stones, slipped on ice. Sometimes they could be pushed or kicked by large animals. Sick teeth because there was no toothbrush then, and the food was very hard. Pain in the back and joints, from having to walk a lot, wear weights, and sleep on hard ground. Colds and temperatures, just like we do today, people catch colds, especially in cold winters. Scientists learn about this thanks to the finds of ancient bones. Imagine, the bones of people who lived 20,000 years ago are still preserved in the ground. Scientists find them, study them, and from small traces on the bones can understand what a person was sick and how he was treated. This is called paleopathology, a very long word that means the study of ancient diseases. Friends didn't abandon each other. The most important thing that scientists managed to learn, ancient people took care of each other. If someone broke a leg or got a serious wound, the tribesmen did not abandon him. They stayed close, fed him, guarded him from wild animals, and waited for him to recover. This could last many weeks. Scientists found the bones of people who had very serious injuries, for example, a broken arm or leg, but the bone fused correctly. This means that the person was helped. He lay quietly while the wound healed, and friends brought him food and water. One person with such an injury simply cannot survive. It means that there must have been someone caring nearby. Scientists even found the remains of a man who lost an arm in childhood or youth, but lived after that for many, many years. So his tribesmen took care of him, despite the fact that he could not hunt as well as others. This is a very important lesson from the past. Even the most ancient people understood that taking care of each other is right and important. Our ancestors were well versed in the plants that grew around them. Although they did not have pharmacies, they had their own green pharmacy, right in the forest and in the field. Willow bark. If a person had a headache or fever, they could give him a decoction of willow bark. Scientists have found that willow bark contains a special substance that relieves pain, almost like real aspirin. Imagine people knew this 20,000 years ago, although aspirin itself was invented quite recently. Yarrow. This plant with small white flowers helped stop the blood from the wound and prevent it from festering. Plantain. The same plant that grows under our feet on the paths. Ancient people already knew that if you attach its leaf to the wound, or to the site of an insect bite, it will become easier. Chamomile. Help to calm the pain and relieve irritation. How did people learn about all these secrets? It's very simple, through trial and observation. Someone once noticed, if you put this leaf to a wound, it heals faster. He told his children about it, they told their children, and so the knowledge was passed down from generation to generation, many, many thousands of years, until it came to us in the form of scientific facts. Scientists even found evidence of this in a very unusual way. They studied tartar, this is a hard plaque on ancient teeth, from people who lived many thousands of years ago, and found pieces of medicinal plants there. This means that people specifically chewed them or drank them as medicine. You will be surprised, but ancient people even had their own operations. Of course, they did not have such tools as in modern hospitals, but they knew how to do something very skillfully. Help with fractures. If a person broke an arm or leg, something like a tire was gently applied to him. These are strong sticks or pieces of bark that were tied to a broken limb with leather straps. This kept the bone from moving, and it properly fused together, just like doctors put a cast on today. Wound treatment. Wounds were washed with water, leaves of medicinal plants were applied to them, and sometimes soft moss was used. Scientists found out that a certain type of moss has natural properties that do not allow the wound to fester. The same moss was used for dressing wounds, even 100 years ago during big wars. That's how good this ancient find was. Bold operations. The most amazing thing is that scientists found the skeleton of a man who lived about 31,000 years ago on a remote island. And this man had part of his leg amputated, that is, removed, as a child. Judging by the bones, the wound after this complex operation completely healed, and the man lived after that for many more years. This means that one of his tribesmen knew how to perform very serious operations, to stop the blood, to care for the wound, although there were no hospitals or medicines in the usual sense. Scientists also find ancient skulls with a neat small hole, which was clearly made by a person on purpose, a sharp stone tool. Such an operation is called trepanation. It sounds frightening, but the most amazing thing is that the bone around the hole in many skulls healed. So the person survived this operation and lived long after it. Scientists do not fully know why ancient people did this. Perhaps to cure a severe headache or head injury, or maybe they believe that an evil spirit of the disease comes out through this hole. Taking care of your teeth. Scientists have found a tooth about 14,000 years old, which shows traces of the fact that someone carefully removed the damaged part of the tooth with a sharp stone tool, almost like a modern dentist removes caries. This proves that even then people understood. If the tooth hurts, you need to do something about it, and not just endure it. How did people know body structure? Ancient people did not have textbooks on anatomy, but they knew perfectly well how the body of animals was arranged. After all, they butchered prey every day after hunting: deer, mammoths, bison. Thanks to this, they had a good idea of where a living creature had bones, muscles, and important organs. This knowledge most likely helped them better understand the human body, where you can cut and where you cannot, how to stop heavy bleeding, and what is dangerous and what is not. What we can learn from our ancestors. It may seem that life 20,000 years ago was not at all like ours. After all, we have hospitals, doctors, medicines, and even robotic surgeons. But if you look closely, you can see very important things that have not changed for all these thousands of years. Taking care of each other saves lives. Then, as now, the most severe illnesses and injuries are easier to endure when there are relatives and friends around who are ready to help. Nature is full of useful secrets. Many modern medicines are still made on the basis of plants that our ancestors already knew how to use many thousands of years ago. Knowledge is passed from older to younger. Previously, there were no books and the internet, but people still knew how to preserve and transmit important knowledge verbally from parents to children, from grandparents to grandchildren. Observation and patience work wonders. Ancient people didn't have science in the usual sense, but they had the patience to observe the world. Which plant helps with pain? Which bandage heals a wound faster? This, too, was a kind of research method, just very ancient. Conclusion. 20,000 years ago, people had no pills, no hospitals, no doctors, and white coats. But this does not mean that they were helpless. They had their own wisdom, knowledge of healing herbs, the ability to care for wounds, put splints on broken bones, and even conduct bold operations. And most importantly, they had what is important always in any era: caring for loved ones. The next time you see a plantain on a path or willow bark on a tree, remember, these same plants helped people cope with pain 20,000 years ago. And when mom or dad carefully put you to bed if you are sick, know this good tradition of caring for each other for many, many thousands of years.